Yo, what up, Toshi here. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the gacha for Neverness to Everness. Now, I thought, why not go ahead and do a live demonstration of the gacha, just to get a better understanding of the gacha myself, so that I can give you guys a thorough explanation of the gacha in this game. Because I'm going to be honest, at first glance, the gacha is the most confusing gacha I've experienced in any gacha game, because of the extra goodies and the festivities type of stuff they have baked into the Monopoly board. Now, right off the get-go, we have two banners currently in the CBT2, which will probably have more banners than CBT3. But CBT2, we currently have two banners. Now, the first banner is the standard banner, but on the same standard banner, you are guaranteed to get a 5-star character within 50 pulls. And that 5-star character you can select from your little pity here. When you get to 50 pulls, you can claim the character. Now, leading up to the 50 pulls on the banner, you can actually get a character early. And it does not reset your character selection at 50 pulls. So this is going to be very nice for rerolling, assuming this system and the standard banner does stay the same. If you end up getting a Baikang, Sakiri, Half-Thor Fadia, or whatever character is meta, or whatever character you want, you can then select another character or a duplicate of that character, probably another character, from your 50 selection after reaching that 50 guarantee. Now that's just a standard banner. And then we have the limited banner, and on this banner you can only get the limited character. There is no 50-50 on this banner. It does take a different currency. It's going to be the red dice, which is the limited premium currency. Now we're going to get into the banner right now essentially, and you enter this Monopoly board. Now I've explained this in previous videos, and at this point you probably have heard of this Monopoly board. Okay, so there's a lot to digest, so we're just going to go ahead and actually pull and play on the Monopoly board just to get a better understanding of how the gacha works in this game. You can see in the top left, they kind of do already explain some of the mechanics, and some of the mechanics are similar to other various major gacha games, like for instance Genshin Impact. You are guaranteed an A rank or a 4-star character or item, character, weapon within 10 rolls, right? So you're guaranteed the 4-star weapon or character. And for those A ranks, the chance to get A rank, right, is a 20-23% chance, which they did do accumulatively, and half of that chance is 11%, right? So I mean, I wish they kind of gave like an actual like better and not like a cumulative chance, but since there's so many ways of getting A ranks in the game, or in the Monopoly board, since there's so many ways of getting A ranks in the Monopoly board, it does make a lot of sense why they instead included the accumulative overall probability of obtaining that A rank, whether that is a class arc or a class character, right? So a character or a weapon. But however, at the pity of each 10 pull, right? So if you hit the pity and you get the A item, you end up having a 20% chance of that A item being the character, or 80% chance of that A item being the class arc, right? And that's not the overall accumulated chance of getting an A rank item, whether that is a character or a weapon, right? This is your pity guaranteed A rank item. Class is a 20%, so you have a 1/5 chance versus you have a 4 out of 5 chance of getting a A rank arc or weapon when you hit that A rank pity. And then you also have the guaranteed S rank character, which is going to be your 5-star character, right, at 90 pity, and that is your guaranteed for the character. Now bear in mind that there is actually soft pity for the banners. So if we go here to this right here, we go to rules explanation, there is going to be a soft pity. So the soft pity right here, if no common S class character is attained for 70 consecutive dice rolls, so that means individual dice rolls, right? Board modification will trigger, significantly increasing the probability of obtaining common S class character per roll. So what this means is that they're going to drop more of the S rank card on the board, so that you have more of a chance to roll into that character card on the board with each dice roll, if that makes sense. And that is after 70 pulls on the banner. Now, the dice mechanic can allow you to get the character before the 70 pity, or you can get it early into the board, right? It all depends on whether or not you hit that 1%. right? Because the 1% is going to matter whether or not you like. It's sort of in a sense like predetermined, right? Based on the rate chance, but the Monopoly board, the dice mechanic, makes it more interesting because of all the extra treasures they do have, which we're going to do a first impressions and kind of, dive into it live just to get a better understanding of it, because it is very convoluted and hard to explain. Now let's go ahead and hop into the standard board, and then we'll do the limited board probably in the next video, because they're both the same, right? So we're gonna go here and we're going to actually start pooling on this board. So you get 20% off on this board for the first 50-ish pools. So you end up using 40 of your dice rolls instead of using 50. You get a discount of 10 rolls you save in total for your first 10 pools on the banner. So we do one dice roll here just for demonstration, and I roll 4, so that means I'm going to move 4 slots on the Monopoly board. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I land on this. This could be an S rank, but it ended up being a B rank. So when I land on that gold looking like box, the gold treasure box looking thing, I have a chance of getting an S rank. Now we're going to do a 10 pool here essentially, and it's discounted. So what this is going to do is it's going to automatically do the dice rolls for you. This could be an S rank but end up being a B rank, right? So I'm going to sit here and let it roll for me here as it does, right? So we got an A rank and ended up being mint. Now this is before the guaranteed A rank character, right? We ended up getting lucky and getting mint early. Now we roll a 6, and depending on where we landed right here, so we have an A rank or lower. We ended up getting another B rank. Okay. So now we move on to this part. Now we have a higher chance of getting something good here because we landed in this part of the board. And this is where the fun starts, right? Potentially something good. Okay, we didn't get anything good. We're going to move on back to where the main board was, right? Okay, cool. So we actually ended up getting an A rank on the purple box. So now we got 1 on the dice roll here, and this right here ended up being an A rank. We lucked out. Okay, we got another 2. Will be an A rank. It is a B rank. We got another 2. Again, to get the gold stuff, it is still a relatively low chance. Oh, cool. So we got another extra dice roll, and we're going to just keep rolling until we hit the pity. So I could show you that once you do reach the soft pity, you have a higher chance because they're going to add more S rank cards to the board to land on the S rank card. And we're going to get to the point where we're going to see an S rank card before we do hit the 70 pity, but it does not mean we'll actually land on it. Okay. So do we move on to that part of the board, right? So we ended up passing the S rank on the board. And we landed on this here. Unfortunate, but it happens. I did actually land on the S rank card when I pulled for the first time. And this was during one of the streams I had. I think it was during the very first stream when I unlocked the gacha. So this is pretty much standard gacha odds, right? Nothing too crazy. What do we get here? So you want to catch up to that thing, because if you catch up to that thing in the next amount of dice rolls, so the next 2 dice rolls here, you get a special treasure. So if we can catch up, so hopefully we got a 3, so we did not catch up to it, unfortunately. We landed right here, so literally right behind it, and we didn't get the extra reward. It's a little unfortunate, but hey, that's a part of the gambling aspect with the Monopoly board. And then as I mentioned before, you have the Guardian, which was the thing on the floaty cloud that we did experience once, right? So you won't experience this too much, but it is a chance to get something juicy, right? We ended up not catching it, but if you do end up catching it, then you end up getting 30 extra warp pieces. 30 warp pieces is essentially going to be extra dupe currency in the shop, right? You have this right here, warp piece, right? You get 30 of these extra, which is nice, right? You can exchange that for an extra pool. So it is an extra nice incentive for, like, you're going to potentially get it leading up to getting other rewards, right? But hey, I personally don't care, because I'm very happy that the game doesn't have 50-50 in the first place, right? So we're going to keep rolling here. We're going to do another 10 pool so we hit the pity. I do like that extra bit of mechanic to allow you to get extra goodies just for just in the Monopoly board, right? There's just so much layers of RNG in it that makes it a lot more interesting, right? And it's not like it's like RNG to cuck you or anything. It's RNG to make it more interesting, make it more dynamic, make it more fun, right? And that's what I like a lot about this gacha system. Can we get something good here? Nope, we got another B rank. We got a 5, so we're going back to the main board. And this is typically what you're going to experience when you're pulling in this game, right? You're going to be getting a bunch of A ranks, a bunch of B ranks. Every now and then you'll get something crazy depending on how good your RNG is, right? Whether or not you get it from the treasure, whether or not you get it from your gold boxes, or whether or not you get it from straight up landing on the S rank card, right? It all depends on how good your RNG is, just like you would experience in any other gacha game, right? It's just a more fun way of doing the gacha versus those games, if that makes sense. Now, you know, leading up to like the release, maybe some things could change, some things could be tweaked, right? When they start really honing in on the gacha mechanics in the next CBT alongside the mobile testing, we'll have to wait and see. So we rolled another 3. We're gonna land on the purple here. So now we're gonna move into this left side of the board. Let's see if we can get something good on our gold. We do not. Okay. Playing in this gacha board so far, I don't think there's fake outs. I think fake outs will make this crazy, but you can tell, right, like what you're getting before you even, like, you can see here, right? You can tell at the top of your dice roll what you're getting before the letter of the rarity even pops up, right? Oh, cool. We actually go ahead and get our 5-star character from the selection here. So I can just pull Halfdor if I wanted to right now. But I'm going to see what I get from the pity before I choose my character, right? So we get another 3 here. Maybe something good. Nope. Again, I wish they would slow it down a little bit to make it a little bit more mysterious before you know exactly what you get. Because you can see it before you get the rank letter at the bottom. So okay, so we land on the gold again. Okay. I'm wondering if there is fake out though. We haven't experienced it yet, so I'm going to assume there isn't. Okay, so now we're at 70 pulls on the banner. So that means we're going to start doing single pulls here. Okay, so something strange appears. So now they're dropping more of the S rank cards, and this is like going to be sort of like the anomaly thing they have in the game, the anomaly mechanic, which is a part of the story. I'll explain the story in a different video, but long story short, the anomaly is going to drop extra like cards on the board for the S rank. So after each little dice roll here, they're going to drop the cards, and then we have a chance of rolling into those cards on the board. So we passed the card. Not a big deal. Okay, so on this next roll, if we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if we get a 5 here, we get the S rank. We got an S rank. Okay, we got the S rank at 72 pulls on the banner. Okay, what is it going to be? Okay, we got Baikang. So that means we're going to choose a character we don't have. I think actually we save it, because there's a chance we could get a character we don't have on this next pity. I would recommend to save it. Again, we'll have another CBT, so maybe I'll do an updated video on the gacha. But I recommend to save it because you just don't know what character you're going to end up missing. And since there is no 50-50 in this game, you're not going to get these characters on the limited banner unless they somewhere later down the line in the future. I don't think they would do this, but they have a character exclusive banner for these characters on the board. I really thought Halfdor would be a limited character, but it surprised me that she is a standard character. I did not expect that. Now, I'm going to show you what you can do with the lost pieces, right? The lost chess pieces that you obtain throughout the Monopoly board. So if we click on the icon in the bottom left here, you have like a shopping cart icon, right? This is going to lead you to the shop. So now you have the warp exchange, right? Which is going to be your pool currency, your dupe currency shop, right? So what I would potentially do is just save this, and depending on what you need, as you see fit, you would choose, right? So for hindsight, this right here, each character card is 30 of the either most likely going to be limited pools, because I don't recommend exchanging it for standard pools. So it's going to be 30 of the limited pools in like the numerical value, right? So I would recommend just using the currency on the limited pools, because that's seemingly going to give you the best value possible, because these are low value to the point of being worth 30 pools a piece, right? That is unless you are really just missing a character and you want to complete your Pokédex, then sure, go for it. or maybe save your currency for something in the future if they add more characters to this warp exchange. We'll have to wait and see, right? Now we have the Lost Exchange. Now, like you're familiar with Genshin Impact, Honkai Star, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, so on and so forth, Snowbreak Containment Zone, same gacha system. You can actually exchange your not dupe currency, but your roll currency, your dice currency, right? You get from the chessboard, but also just get from rolling in the gacha in general, 4 extra dice each month, right? So this is the same as you experience in any other game. You have the resettable extra dice you get in the shop, or extra pools rather. I like calling them dice though, because obviously you could tell it's the pool currency. So we're going to exchange it, and you would do this each month. Now the month did just reset, so we're not going to see this reset in this CBT, but it would have a timer on it, right? And you would be able to tell how much time you have left before you can exchange it if you don't have the full currency to buy it out, or how much time before the next reset does happen for the shop, right? And then we're going to, of course, buy this here because it's going to be very valuable for the end game too. And this is obviously going to be the most valuable things you can buy, right? The higher rarity stuff in the shop. Now, the cool thing about weapons is that since there is no like weapon gacha, right? Like no weapon banner, all of that, you can luck out and just over time use your tri keys to just buy them from the shop, right? I can get the tri keys from the monthly shop and just exchange those tri keys for the arcs. So ideally, this is what you want to do, like long term, just to max them out and get these on your account. You also have the arc exchange here, where it's going to take a different type of currency. I don't have much of this currency right here, and you're going to get this from just PvE type stuff, PvE related stuff, right? So this is going to take time to accumulate, and so on with this other currency. So like you wouldn't get this until you've actually accumulated this over time, right? But you do have the lower rarity arcs, which you can buy, and this would help you get through like the game, right? Like help you progress to the late game. And obviously in the late game, you're going to want the best rarity. So this is at the point where you would just buy these instead, unless you don't have enough currency, or maybe some of these lower rarity arcs, maybe like this right here, when the wearer's HP is above 50%, shields are 12% stronger. So maybe this would be good for an HP scaling shield character. I know Adler's a shield like character, but he's not HP scaling. His shield scales off of defense. So this really wouldn't be good for that character. But you get the gist, right? You would obviously just look at the passive and see what passive benefits your character the most. And for the CBT currently, we do have this shop here. Now I don't know if this Neverness to Everness Hunter exchange shop is going to be in the actual final game. There's 120 free premium currency. I assume it's probably going to make it to live servers, and then we have more of the tri keys, which we can exchange, of course, for the weapons, stuff like that. And you can just buy this all out, and then you upgrade it as well, right? So we'll probably just like buy this out over time, stuff like that. Now, if we go to the board of the S rank character, you can see it looks the same as the other board, right? You have the same mechanics. You have a chance of getting extra dice rolls, which is actually pretty darn nice. I'm not even going to lie. And then you have the S rank limited character right here, who is Nanalie. Now, I do like that the S rank for the limited character, at least in the case of NTE as of right now, because it's not guaranteed to be, well, it is guaranteed to be a specific character. They actually do show the icon of the character and glowing, right? Instead of it being just a S rank card. And, you know, obviously, since the S rank card, it's going to be a random character from that standard banner. I do like how they have this like little icon for each individual character on the banner. It looks pretty cool. Now, obviously, you just hope that you roll into the character, right, on the board. So it is actually a 1% chance to get an S rank, which is a little bit higher than the industry when I say industry standard, I mean the current major gacha games like Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, so on and so forth. 1% is still slightly higher than those games, but as you saw before with my pool session, do not really expect to get your S rank character early, if ever, really, right, because of that still very relatively low chance. And then as always, you have the limited characters of the A rank on the board, and you can only obtain these characters on the board, right, for your like your A rank pity, whatever, whatnot. So there is a chance to get Mint on the board. You saw before, so we got Mint, we got Skia, and we got Adler. So you can only obtain these characters on the board. You cannot lose to characters off of the board, which is actually maybe nice depending on the way you look at it or what you're missing on your accounts. Like if you're missing a certain A rank, you'd probably have to wait until that A rank appears on a different banner, which may or may not be a good thing. We'll have to wait and see. There you have it. That is the Neverness to Everness gacha system in a nutshell. I tried to explain this the best way I could possible, and I do also apologize. I don't have the best audio setup or the typical audio setup. I'm currently out of town, but I really wanted to get this video out to you guys because I, for one, want to continue pulling on the gacha, and I know I cannot pull on the gacha or continue pulling on the gacha until I feel like I have a better understanding and explain it to you all, because I feel like I won't be able to give a live demonstration unless I was to record it. But I was like, well, let me just kill two birds with one stone. Record the live demonstration of me doing the gacha and explain it at the same time to make it a little easier to digest, I feel like, if that makes sense. But that said, that's the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed. I still stand by what I said. I stand on business. Neverness Everness has the best and most engaging gacha system in any gacha game I've experienced thus far. And I've been playing gacha games since the release of Genshin Impact in 2021. So for 4 years now, but I feel like that's where most people started playing gacha games, for being honest. When I say most, I mean the mainstream audience, right? I always refer to the mainstream audience when I say most in a lot of these scenarios. But that's it. Thank you for watching and have a nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.